Thanks for joining today this space. My name is Juan Flores, and today we are gonna explore the iJourney together. The iJourney is a customer journey representation aiming to support us on building unique experiences. And without going too much into detail, I would like to start by giving a little overview of the history of the customer journeys. During more than 300 years, we have been trying to understand how human takes decisions and why do we do what we do. Many professionals from different areas, as you can see in this slide, has tried to shine a light in these behaviors, from mathematicians to philosophers or even psychiatrists. In 2005, Procter & Gamble actually gave it a try with the first moment of truth. In summary, they tried to understand why in the 7 seconds that we are in front of a supermarket shelf full of detergents, one product is selected versus the other. The next step for them was the first moment of truth, which is, the first step was a stimulus, which is when you realize that you need to wash your clothes. The first step was that 7 seconds we were talking about. And the second step was actually when you just try the product and you realize that clothes are clean. Even more, a bit later, we have McKinsey in 2009, who actually brought another approach. In this case, the most important moment was not the moment of the purchase, but the moment after trying the product, because if the experience was good, that will trigger a loyalty loop that will help us to create repetitive purchase. On the side, Google, which is, as you know, marketing machine, tried in 2011 the zero moment of truth, which is that moment that happened before the purchase, that research we do. And of course, it's only by chance that Google decided that the search was the most important point, right? But these absolute certainties that we can see here and many others are the ones that we have been using for our customer journeys. And they are so true that if we overlap them, as you can see in this image, actually there is not so much of a difference. So we are, according to this, machines that goes from step 1 to step 2 to step 3 and then 4. But I don't think we are so predictable. So let's do something we are all willing to do, especially nowadays. Let's go for a dinner with friends, okay? And during that dinner, Maria, who organized the dinner, to give an example, she knows that I love white wines for the northwest of Spain, so she ordered an Albarino. Next to Maria is seated Daniel. We all have one Daniel in our life. Is that person that when you don't find information in Google, you ask Daniel, right? It's like a Wikipedia with legs. So we have Daniel, who started to talk with Monica about the history of the winery, the variety of the grape, etc. Monica tastes the wine, and she thinks that it's really nice, so she tells us, I also taste the wine. In the meantime, Daniel remembers that he has a dinner with friends coming up, and he just pull up the phone and order a case on that specific moment. And when he is ordering the case, Monica takes a picture of the bottle and post it on Facebook with a claim like having a good wine with good friends. During all this time, in my case, I have been tasting and enjoying the wine. And every sip I made, I enjoy it a little bit more. So in this example that we all have lived in our life, Maria, Daniel, Monica, me, has experienced complete different customer journeys. And none of us follow actually the customer journeys defined in the previous examples. However, this is where we are basing our strategies as marketeers. We are taking step 1, 2, 3, and 4 to cluster our content. So we maybe need to have a different approach to help us define this step. So the iJourney gives us that approach. And it starts by something that we all talk a lot, and this customer journey allows us to do, which is to put the customer in the center. And of course, we have the well-known 6-step represented in most customer journeys: the stimulus, research, purchase, product experience, evaluation, and feedback. But going back to the dinner, Maria actually started in a different point of the customer journey, that not the stimulus. That's why the customer journeys bring us to this random way of moving that we all experience in our real life as customers. In the case of Maria, she started the journey ordering the wine, the purchase point from where she actually jumped to actually get feedback from Monica. She didn't even give feedback to Monica. It was Monica the one who said, "Hey, I like the wine." Daniel probably knew the wine from the past, from another moment, or maybe because he read something somewhere. He did not even taste the wine, but he just actually was providing feedback to Monica, and from there jumping to purchase the product. Monica got the feedback from Daniel, moved to the product experience, evaluated the product, and went back to provide feedback herself. In the meantime, I experienced the product and I evaluated, experienced it and evaluated. And if I continue like that for a couple of rounds, the only thing I'm purchasing is probably an Uber to go back home. All these journeys were affected by external factors also, and that is important that we consider them. In my case, by instance, I felt honored that Maria actually thought about me when ordering the wine. So my approach to tasting the wine was already very positive, right? Daniel also clearly influenced Monica because not only on the perception of the wine itself, but after she also tried the wine, she feel encouraged to share in social media, not the wine experience, but the whole experience, not the product experience. These random paths should be considered when we define a customer journey also for pharma. As an example, we can easily imagine a caregiver getting feedback from a comment in social media about a new treatment option for his loved one and jumping into a research. From there, maybe moving back to give feedback to the ACP, who actually, thanks to that feedback, gets a stimulus that moves him to the research to understand the product experience from other physicians, evaluate the resource, and it's definitely influenced by the key opinion leaders and his feeling and willingness to support and better treat the patient. This freedom of choice could be endless. That's why when we need to narrow it down and we need to make it tangible for digital, we need to start by understanding what are the mindsets that we manage in digital. And in that sense, it's important to remember that whatever we do in internet is done for one of these 4 reasons. It's either commerce, information, networking, and entertainment. And we don't know what the user has in mind. We cannot know that, but we can kind of guess it. So following the sample of the wine, if I go into Google and I search for wine, I could be thinking for anything. But if I accompany the words, so I not only look for wine, but I look for buy wine, I think that everyone understands that I'm in e-commerce mode or commerce mode. However, if I'm looking for history of the wine, good wine bar near me, or buying wine menu graphic designing, I probably have a complete different mindset. So the accompanying words on the search that I do are giving you the hint of what is my mindset. And in that moment, also, even before I open the browser, as a user, I already took a decision about the content that was going to be relevant or irrelevant for me based on my mindset. So finally, when we bring all together, when we bring the iJourney and the mindsets in this last slide, so no worries, I told you it was not going to be very painful, you can realize and you can relate to how an ACP getting the stimulus going to the research, how it's influenced by the key opinion leader, how it is in the information mindset, how it's landing into platforms like website of the companies or medical journals. And it's mainly a summary of the iJourney and the interpretation of the iJourney to digital. Based on this, we not only understand everything that we need about the ACP, but the more important thing, we got all the needed hints to develop the right content to be delivered in the right time, to be delivered in the right channel. Thank you very much. That's mainly the presentation. So I will check now if we have any questions. I can wish you all a very nice afternoon and leave you with the next one. Thank you. Bye.